Hey there, Arglefump fans! Here's my schedule for February 2021. On the 6th, I will post a review for Babysitter's Little Sister graphic novel number 3, as well as a comparison between the graphic novel and the original book. On the 9th, I'll post a review for graphic novel number 20. That's not a very good graphic novel. It's mostly just references to previous books in the Hardy Boys graphic novel series. I'll also post a general recap of the series, because that's the last one. Then Little Sister books. So there's the book where Karen's goldfish dies, and the book where Karen gets mad at her brothers. That's going to be followed by the Babysitters Club Chain Letter, which is a sort of a side book where they write letters to each other. It's very short. There's also mini books. So there were a bunch of short Babysitters Club books, which were sold along with some dolls. I think they're like 3 to 5 pages long, so I review all of them in one video. And then Hardy Boys graphic novels. So there's actually a second Hardy Boys graphic novel series, and it did not last long. It's only 2 books long. First is a zombie book, and then second is a book where the Hardy Boys fight with each other. So once I finish that, I'll be done with all of the Hardy Boys graphic novels in existence. Then back to the Little Sister series, we'll have Karen's Goodbye, where her friend moves away, and then Karen's Carnival, where she throws a carnival. Those books are pretty straightforward. That brings us to the end of the month. February is a very short month. I'll be doing 2 commissions. So I have The Elite, which is the sequel to The Selection, and then Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm, which was a very long book. It took me 2 months to read. And that's why I only have 2 commissions for the month of February. I did get a lot of commissions, but they're all for long books, which will take me multiple months to read. So next month, I'll be posting all the reviews for books I was commissioned to read this month. So I do have a question to ask. What should I post on my channel now? Because I'm finished with the Boxcar Children and the Hardy Boys graphic novels. Now I'm only posting reviews for Babysitter's Club and Babysitter's Little Sister. I need to have a 3rd series, right? I can't just post only Babysitter's Club material. So just let me know if you have any cool ideas for what else I should post. Maybe I will post Frozen book reviews, because I just finished with all the remaining Frozen books. Not all the Frozen books, just all the Frozen books, which happen to be chapter books. So I finished the Frozen chapter book project last month in January. So first I read Anna's Finds a Friend, where she gets letters. Elsa's Icy Rescue, where Elsa saves Anna. Frozen Journey to the Lights, which is a long book. It's like over 200 pages. And then Kristoff's Crystal Adventure, which is a similar book, but it's only 20 pages long. I read Hannah Swensen number 13, Apple Turnover Murder, where Hannah's ex-boyfriend is murdered. I enjoyed the book, but it is a terrible mystery. It's really bad. You can tell who the culprit is before the murder even occurs. The culprit is the one character who's new to the series. It always ends up being the new character who's the culprit, right? And the other big project I did in January was I finished reading all the remaining Little Sister books in my collection. So Karen's Turkey Day, generic Thanksgiving book, sad book where Karen's grandfather dies, a short story. Yeah, there's actually a short story based on the Little Sister series, so I read that. Karen's Pony Camp. I like this book because all of her friends get storylines. Usually, Karen's the only one who gets a storyline. Karen's Haunted House, which is a mystery book, and it is just plain terrible. So, for example, Sam plays a prank on Charlie. At the exact same time, Charlie plays a prank on Sam. At the exact same time, the culprit plays a prank on Karen. So, 3 separate people play the exact same prank at the exact same time. That's way too much of a coincidence for me. Karen's Chain Letter was a terrible book. Just terrible. Karen's a terrible person in that book, and the story's boring. Karen's Copycat, I really don't remember that book very much. And then Karen's Spy Mystery, which was a pretty decent mystery. It's very simple, but it was a good way for me to finish the Little Sister series, because it's a good one. I read Paw Enforcement number 3. I like that. The culprit storyline was the best part. And then I read a bunch of Rainbow Magic fairy books. So I finished with the Princess Fairies. Anya the Cuddly Creatures Fairies. Our heroes defeat the goblins by doing absolutely nothing. Elisa, the Royal Adventure Fairy, that was actually a cool book where they fought with Jack Frost. Lizzie the Sweet Treats Fairy, where our characters make terrible decisions just so the story can continue. The exact same thing happens in Maddie the Fun and Games Fairies. Like, she's 2 inches away from grabbing the magic item, and she has a couple of minutes alone with the magic item. She can easily grab it, but then she doesn't, so the story can continue. That was frustrating. And I totally forget what happens in the Enchanted Ball Fairy book. I also read Natalie the Christmas Stocking Fairy, which I thought was bad. You'll have to wait for my full review to find out why. Hey, maybe I'll post Rainbow Magic Fairy reviews. I mean, I've already read 100 books in the series. Might as well start posting those reviews now, right? Also, I wrote some walkthroughs for GameFAQs. So, in January every year, I try to write a walkthrough for GameFAQs. That way I can put GameFAQs writer on my resume. It looks super impressive for me to have a job for over 20 years, right? I don't think it's necessary because I don't send my resume to anybody, but it still looks impressive. So there was drama with the GameFAQs walkthroughs. So I wrote one for Carol Reid Quarantine Diary, but that game is so new, GameFAQs didn't have it in their database, so they rejected my walkthrough because they thought the game didn't exist. So about a week later, they changed their minds and said, "Oh, we have the game. Yeah, we'll accept your walkthrough now." But by that time, I'd already written a second walkthrough for Living Legends Remastered Ice Rose. That was just the most recent game I had played. That's why I picked it. And also I wrote a walkthrough for Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego Treasures of Knowledge. I had written that like 5 or 6 years ago, but for whatever reason, it was never submitted to GameFAQs. So I actually wrote 3 walkthroughs for GameFAQs when I was only expecting to do 1. I also did a little bit of game work. I wrote down some ideas for a Hercules RPG game and some very basic ideas, like 1 paragraph for how an escape room set in a pyramid might work. That could be a cool game, maybe. I'll probably never write it, though. I spent most of my time working on an Oregon City game, sort of like the Carol Reid series, where they have pictures of real-life locations. I was thinking maybe we could have a scavenger hunt in Oregon City, and we go through all these real-life historical locations in order to find lost pioneer gold or something like that. I think it's a cool game. I hope we can make it. I hope there aren't, like, legal issues which prevent us from using these pictures. Because if so, then the game project will be canceled. Oh, that would be sad. And that's basically it. So those are the reviews which are being posted this month. Those are all the books I read in January, and I did a little bit of writing in January as well. So thank you very much, everybody. Hope you enjoy what's coming on Arglefunf Reads.